Well, welcome once again to Raising the Consciousness of Humanity. I am excited. We have a great guest on today. Her name is Claudia Skye Zimmermann, actually, Dr. Claudia Skye Zimmermann. She is a published health expert with over 30 years in both Western as well as holistic medicine and specializes in soul loss and soul remembrance, claiming the essence of who you are. Claudia, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Yeah, I like I shared, I've been inspired by the videos that you share, the content that you share, the way you approach the topic, things that I would say that will really resonate with our audience. And yeah, I want to dive deep
Mhm.
into your story, but before my one thing I want to do too is get
Mhm.
people, if you can like and subscribe not only this channel but also Claudia's channel, we would really appreciate it. And if this message today really resonates you, please share it with a friend. And so now, Claudia, tell me a little bit about your background. I know
Mhm.
that you've come from a medical, both what we call Western or modern and
Mhm.
holistic. And what inspired you to go in a direction of soul remembrance?
Mhm. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I was a mainstream Western medical doctor in Germany for several years. I was a pediatrician, and it didn't take long for me to really realize that while I loved the work in many ways, there was so much missing. I really missed the depth because I saw, especially in pediatrics, you have a lot of parents come that share a different level of struggle and of pain and of suffering. And I felt that I had nothing to give. And so I really shifted in my offering. I moved to the United States. I studied Chinese medicine and saw life more through the energetic perspective that Chinese medicine offers. But during that time, many things came alive for me again. They were really strong as a child. And there was the shamanic perspective, really seeing things in a more subtle way that was so natural to me. And I just followed the feeling. I became super intuitive. I trusted it, and I did lots of trainings, lots of exposures, started really working a lot or spending time with indigenous populations here in the US and then in South America. Not plant medicine, but ceremonies, vision quests, sweat lodges, and then in Peru, really spending time with wisdom keepers that keep these very ancient codices like life ways alive for us. And inspired by that and my own remembrance of a lot of difficulty in my younger years that I had forgotten, I saw, I just, something emerged that was around the soul that I hadn't had much wisdom or understanding of. And I realized through healing from a lot of trauma myself in ways that I'd never heard about, that really didn't exist. I saw things suddenly from a different perspective and through the lens of what I say, energy and consciousness. And so
Hmm.
I became aware of patterns that repeat that we in the West don't have solutions for very easily, but that are addressed in the more indigenous pathways. Yeah. So that really informed my life, the healing from a lot of difficulty
Hmm.
and the exposure to people that still live truly in their heart and in a living in a real alive connection with the earth and the cosmos, right? In the West, I feel we conceptualize that.
Hmm.
It's something interesting, it makes sense, but the bridge to experiencing the beauty from that is often missing
Hmm.
because we process everything through the mind. And
Yeah.
so my path took me out of my head because I was a trained doctor. I grew up in Germany. I mean, that's as heady as you'll ever get, I think. And I was craving something more meaningful, something that filled that hunger I felt inside and that emptiness. And I found it through being in nature and just being with very simple ways, right? And that began to just shift me on the inside. Yeah. So,
Wow. So you like you shared your a little bit of your own inner knowing or intuition
mhm.
started to open up.
Yeah, big time. It literally was a remembering of these ways that I saw people live in the Andes. I remembered, like, I remembered that. I remembered the wisdom. I remembered the like the practices. I just remembered that connection, and so many things that before were important just that weren't cutting it for me anymore, right?
Yeah,
So I just a lot of things in my life then fell away that had given me stability and identity, and it wasn't easy, but it was necessary to go through this kind of clarification and purification process.
wow.
And then this piece was soul remembrance, even though I can, looking back, see how this is the essence of the work. I remember about 6 years ago meditating early in the morning, and I literally heard a voice say, go online, check the URL for soul remembrance because you'll need it. And I was like, wow, that's really specific. So I did, and it was taken. So I reached out to the man that was using it. He was working with human design. And literally an hour later, he emails says, this is crazy. I was just meditating and got download. I need to let go of my business name and focus on my music. And so we did. So I changed my name from Solution. What did I have? Something more, mainstream, let's say,
Yeah.
to this because I realized this is the essence of the work that wants to blossom here right now. And I
That's
didn't
a
really, yeah.
that's an amazing story right there.
Yeah, that's when something wants to happen.
It's like when spirit says, "Okay, it's yours, not yours."
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Um, yeah, thank you for sharing and sharing also about your story, in Peru. I saw that some of those pictures on your website.
Mhm.
And I guess you still take groups down there?
I started, so for several years, I would go as a guest with
Oh,
someone else that was guiding people, and then people started asking me to guide them. And so I thought, I guess I'm ready, right? So I just started taking people twice a year, small groups, to be with these Pacos, the wisdom keepers, the Quiero.
nice.
And it's very beautiful, profound work and
Yeah.
immersion into their culture. Yeah. Yeah.
And like you shared, sometimes we have to step out of the normal container, or
Yeah.
we need enough of a shift in situation of what you shared was going to a whole different culture
Hmm.
that has a different belief structure, more connected with nature, more connected with the cosmos, more you know, probably daily practices that are
Hmm.
maybe more grounded or spiritual,
Hmm.
as opposed to how much we are in the Western world. We don't get taught
Yeah.
any of this in our school, so we don't grow up with it.
Yeah. It became so clear to me. And that's really the essence of what I think with the work that we might talk about. It became so clear to me being with them
Yeah.
and running into myself over and over again, all my programming, my conditioning, my trauma patterns, my triggers, because that's all we know. I didn't know how programmed I was.
Hmm.
I had no idea. I thought that's just how we are, right? We operate from the mind, we buy into all these beliefs. This is how things are, and then you're somewhere else. And what they say that the people from the north and west at this time that we think what's true is 180 degrees from cosmic truth, right? From the actual truth. We've been so led to disbelieve into who we are, our powers, our
Yeah.
innate capacities and beauty and our divinity, truly.
Yeah.
Right? We've really become quite small in knowing who we are and living from that greater capacity. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the what you shared, 180 degrees. Yeah, because so many things are mind focused, mental focused,
Hmm.
achievement, uh,
Mm-hmm.
things that
Yeah.
we strive for because we believe we're supposed to strive for them,
Yeah.
and they tend to be, and live in a world like I call it the hamster on the cage. It's like
Yeah.
every, everything just
Yeah.
we're not even aware that we're running this
We're
life.
not.
It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. Because that's all we know. We have so forgotten the deeper essence of our being.
Mm,
And not just in our life. It's not just we go to school and we learn these things of what's valuable and that we need to compete and all these things, but it's generations deep, right? We know now from science that we inherit all these patterns for many, many generations in our genome, and that's all we know. We don't know ourselves differently. So maybe I'll share a little bit of what soul loss really means and looks like and how
yeah.
we experience it. So, from my perspective, soul loss can happen in different ways, right?
Mhm.
Or what's the soul? Maybe we'll start there. What is our
Yeah.
soul? And the way I describe and relate with our soul is it's our unique essence. It's who we truly are without the beliefs, without our habits, our identification. It's our essence. So it's our true self. And that is unique for each and every one of us. We are like unique fractal of God, of the divine. We are like this unique spark or droplet in the ocean, right? And so that is who we are. We all have our unique colors. And and then what happens? Well, we're born into a lineage, so we already take on some kind of gifts and some kind of baggage, right? Then we are being parented by more or less conscious parents, and they can't help, even with the best intentions, to pass down limiting beliefs.
Hmm.
And then we have traumas, and where we have experiences that are difficult for us, and we often don't want to feel them. We push that deep in our subconscious, but it doesn't go anywhere.
Mm,
So when a human being experiences either an acute trauma, like a car accident, or an abuse, or something very challenging where it's too painful and too much, and it's known in Western psychology as dissociation, right? A part of us dissociates. It's no
yeah.
longer with us because it just can't hold it. So if we have either acute trauma or a prolonged difficult period, maybe there is someone that will not let us assert our own will. We
Mm,
keep feeling unsafe and we sort of give ourselves away in a certain way, right? We just to be safe as a child, we become someone we're not, and we literally splinter off from a part of our essence because there's no room for it. It's not safe to be with it. Now, part of our essence isn't dead, but it's not available to us. It doesn't inform us.
mm,
But our soul is what knows why we're here, and it knows our path forward in life, right? It's here to experience things, to express things, to learn things, to give things. So when we're disconnected with that wisdom and the capacity to live into that purpose, suddenly we're like, yeah, I need that 9 to 5, and I need this car, and I need that money, and I need all these external things. And we stop knowing who we are and trusting that we already have what we need, as in, we don't need to listen to an external authority. We have that wisdom within to express. And then we become that unique expression. But if we lose that, then we conform. And now we just try to fit in and maybe, right, we just become someone we're not meant to be, we didn't come for. That's soul loss. And depending on the degree of soul loss we have, right, we embody it from somewhere from a few percent to 100%.
yeah.
We more or less can find fulfillment in our life, and we operate from our own consciousness.
Mm,
So it's really powerful to realize that. So let's say someone has soul loss at the age of 2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
okay.
As an adult, they cannot know who they are.
mm,
They've never experienced themselves as a grown person as who they are. Whereas someone that had a pretty easy life, maybe just some genetic patterns, some school programming, they're in their strength, they're in their knowing. But someone who had a difficult period and might not even remember that or might have no understanding of that, they struggle. Everything gets harder. They have to compensate. They work so hard at things that are easy for others and wonder why, what's wrong with me? That's often the underlying reason, right? So there are terms in psychology that are used for this,
yeah.
but it's the the healing methods aren't really there to remedy for the deeper loss of one's essence.
Okay.
Because with drugs, you're not going to change that, right? With talk therapy, you're not going to change that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, no, that makes sense. It's the drugs mask but don't reveal maybe. And
Yeah.
yeah, so with what you uh practice and how you help people, when somebody is that lost though, like where you shared where in early in their age, they've had enough trauma to where now they don't even know themselves, or they're running on a
Yeah.
pattern
Yeah.
that they're not happy, but they're not even aware of that pattern. They're not even aware,
They
maybe they're not
can't
even
know.
aware of that trauma.
Yeah.
How do you start with somebody like that? I mean,
How do you start?
yeah.
That's the beauty of our humanness. We have a body. The
Mm,
body is the bridge because all these patterns are, or all these traumas, you could say, and all the programming, everything is stored as an energetic pattern in the body.
mm,
So when we understand that, we can use the body as the vehicle through which we can work. So I'm talking about somatic work.
okay.
Somatic, many, right? There's different ways. My preferred way of working, other than through the shamanic lens when it's needed, is to, well, let's make it real, right?
Yeah,
Maybe I struggle with being in a relationship. I always attract the same person. I just don't understand what I'm doing wrong. I maybe have
sure.
enough awareness to see, well, it's not the other person because I can move to a new city and I can meet so many people. It's in the end, it's the same pattern. I
I call
recognize
that
that.
different places, different faces. Same, same
Exactly. It's
thing.
like
Yeah,
same, different face, but same problem.
yeah,
Clearly, at some point, I'm like, okay, maybe it's inside of me, and I'm not
yeah,
doing something wrong, right? Maybe I can have compassion, but I'm tired. I want to
yeah,
really change. There is the most simple and elegant pathway for this, and it works for anything. This is the way to start, let's say,
yeah.
right? You become aware, well, something is happening inside of me that attracts this situation.
Mm,
So the next time you experience the pain, the sadness, the whatever emotion and triggers come up around this, you stop thinking,
mm,
you drop into the body. Because in the body that you're usually not aware of, because when you're in the mind, you're usually disconnected from your body. But
yeah,
when you, and this is why being in a space that someone holds makes this easy. By yourself, often the mind is so used to running the show, you won't drop into the body at first. It's a
yeah.
learning. You will, but at first it's like, I'm not gonna, that's boring. Nothing's changing. But when you learn to drop in 100% of the time, you will find a pattern in the body that shows up as a sensation. So maybe there's a tightness in your stomach, or your throat closes up, or your chest feels numb.
Mm,
There's something, and that's the correlating energy that holds the intelligence or the information of the trauma.
okay.
So literally now you're aware of this pattern. You're acutely experiencing something, or you can use your memory to say, okay, last time this was active, I got really triggered when he or she did that.
Yeah.
You drop into your body and you find what does your body know about it? Where is that held?
Mm,
And you sit through the discomfort, which is literally just the energy coming forward, moving, and then releasing. That's how you get rid of the trauma energy. You would alchemize
Okay.
it. Now, the second part, if you have soul loss, is that that essence lives literally outside of your energy field.
Mm.
So, not always, but often, there's a need for soul retrieval. Sometimes our soul essence will come back into our body when we have done enough inner clearing to even have space for it,
Okay.
to be a match vibrationally.
Mm.
Sometimes it's important to have somebody that can do a soul retrieval, it's called, right? Where you can literally find that essence and bring it back into someone's field and body.
Wow.
So those are the two aspects to that.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if to maybe even understand it, so I mean, I know that oftentimes I'm in my mind. I do know that, and I
Mm-hmm.
know when I have tried to work on anything that maybe it's an area of forgiveness or maybe it's an area of I didn't have a lot of trauma, but I had things, like a lot of people do, where you feel you're not good enough or you're not
Mm-hmm.
worthy. And maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
around abundance or whatever. But what you're saying is to feel the feeling in the body, not to try to rationalize that through your thinking process.
Yes. And what's so powerful is when you have set through the full release of the energy that's literally now gone. I mean, it could be something this thing always triggers you.
Yep.
You do the work, you, it doesn't even phase you. That's what can happen 20 minutes later. Literally. I mean,
Really?
that's the work I do. If you can complete it, you will never be triggered by the same thing ever again. And now
Wow.
you aren't attracted, right? Now you're done. You don't need it anymore. That's real. But what's so beautiful too, if you start in the body, you
Yeah.
release the charge, you release the stickiness and the story underneath it. Now your mind naturally comes on board. You don't have to say, well, I understand this is happening and I should have compassion and I'm going to do my best to forgive. Now the mind naturally comes on board because it's no longer fed by the past. And it's
Oh,
neutral. At least it's neutral. I mean, you can have the worst kind of trauma, do this work and look at the situation, the memory, and be, yeah, that happened. And you know what? I'm done. I bless that person if there was someone involved. You don't feel any hook anymore. You don't feel victim to it anymore.
hmm.
You're clear, your energy has shifted, you raise in vibration, and now your perspective is conscious. Like in some way, shape, or form, I must have needed to experience it. Maybe you're already clear what it really was for
Yeah.
because you grow, right? You have more strength, more compassion, more understanding, more capacity. But your mind secondarily understands. You don't have to work at it. Always happens.
Wow. Okay. So the
Yeah.
body's leading the mind in that, in what you shared.
Yeah.
When you work with somebody, do you like suddenly notice that is there something that you notice within them, like their presence, like suddenly
Mhm.
they're at ease or their body relaxes or
Oh, their light turns on.
their light turns on? Nice.
Yeah, so depending on how the gravity, some patterns are pretty small, some are huge. If you get to the core of something, you can see that they're literally now, their voice drops, right? They're more in their body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Depending on how your perception, but literally their light turns on, they feel brighter. Often people say they feel just lighter, like the heaviness, the fear, or whatever was going on is simply gone. And it stays gone because you haven't worked through the mind. They haven't had just an understanding like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I shouldn't feel that. No, like they won't feel that anymore
Yeah.
because it's out of their system. It's very real.
Mm.
When you work through the body, the change is embodied.
Wow.
And now it's reflected in their life circumstances.
So in essence, when you help somebody work and heal
Mm.
on those aspects that they carry, the triggers, the trauma, the feelings within the body,
Hmm.
and when that starts to get released, then what
Hmm.
you're saying is they can embody more of their soul essence, and their light
Yeah.
is turned on. I'm curious, do you know, or does anybody report back to you, or just from your own personal experience, that what would make sense to me would be somebody who maybe previously to this wasn't in that intuitive, suddenly does their intuitive gifts come on too? Like a
They
like greater self-awareness, like
100%. And the
really?
beauty, 100%. Oh yeah, because I mean it's really pretty mathematical almost. Imagine you're, which we are, right? We are like a field of light. Let's just say, imagine yourself like a spiral of light to make it easy.
Yeah,
And you're born, you incarnate into this body in your mother's womb, and your mother has some baggage, right? So
yeah,
you're in that, and she experiences things in her pregnancy. Then you're born and you arrive in the hospital, and maybe it doesn't go well. And so all this time you take on these energies.
yeah.
You can call it shadow or density, and they're caking around your light body. That's even without the genetic imprinting. That's without a massive trauma.
Okay,
That's just life. So slowly you're there's this caking that's happening on the outside with these trauma patterns, with these darker energies and low
yeah,
vibration patterns, and your light becomes smaller and dimmer. So now you start chipping away
yeah.
that those bricks and the armor then you also build up because whoa, right? You have to armor up a little bit when life gets harder. When that begins to become thinner, you know yourself,
Yeah,
trust yourself, you begin to authentically love yourself because you
yeah,
see your perspective becomes such that you understand why you maybe acted this way, that you weren't proud of, and like, yeah, I get it now. I had to. So your vibration rises, and with that, everything rises in your life.
okay. So I would
And
imagine creativity, probably flow state,
yes,
things like even synchronicity might be more apparent and aware.
100%. Because you are that light, right? You now have access to that. I mean, often people say, oh my God, I'm clear. I know,
Yeah,
because I don't, my role isn't to tell someone their next step or, what
yeah,
they should do with something, but my job is to help them get so clear in themselves that they know because nobody else can know. It's
yeah.
their unique path that looks different for everyone, but their inner clarity, their connection, their resilience turns on. So the more
Nice,
we have the courage to face the things we've denied forever, we didn't want to look at, we were like, oh, nothing happened. The more we have the courage to do that, the more we become fully embodied. Yeah.
nice. That makes total sense. That so I guess the other question I have would be if somebody is unaware, well, if somebody is maybe so lost or unaware, or maybe they don't, but you said it's still that wherever they're triggered to be aware of that, and then
Yeah.
that's probably the in a way maybe the gift. I know I know that's probably, but the gift of awareness, really, right? Because that's the
Yeah.
moment you you sense that. That's the
Yeah.
starting point.
That's the starting point when we realize I don't understand, but clearly the common denominator is me. So
Yeah,
it takes that decision to take responsibility.
decision
Once
to
we're
take responsibility.
willing to take responsibility, like I don't know what it looks like, but I want to change that. I want to understand how I can no longer react this way because I don't like it.
Yeah,
And so to notice I'm triggered, the trigger is in me.
yeah,
What do I do with it? That's a good point, right? I need to change something so that the thing out there doesn't have to be on the carousel. Yeah.
and so what you're saying too is like where there's other, I mean, in spiritual programs or forgiveness programs, like sometimes you have to kind of like go back to the original cause, like who did it.
Well, you don't have to
You
actually.
don't have
That's
to.
the beauty. You can, like, often we don't know. We don't know maybe that when we were born, we were left in our crib to cry ourselves asleep. We don't know that. But
Yeah.
we can recognize I have this abandonment issue. I always am afraid to get abandoned by my partner, so I do all these things, right? Maybe we know that. So maybe we just know, like, I'm struggling with this pattern in my relationship. We have no idea. Maybe it was a great grandparents issue.
Yep.
But we know what's painful today, and that's the anchor. That's all we need. In
Yeah.
fact, I never try to understand fully what happened at
Because
all.
that's the mind trying to figure it out again.
That's
Yeah.
the mind trying to figure it out. And then the more you think about it and want to know, you write it deeper into your subconscious mind, right? You want to
Yeah.
really be so detached that you're like, in fact, I don't care, but I care about not living with that anymore.
Yeah.
I never look into the past unless it surfaces in the work. Sometimes their recognitions like, oh my God, I didn't remember that. But when I was 12, my teacher said this thing and I was so humiliated in front of class. That
Yeah.
could be a trauma, right? You have no recollection, but somehow it's being pulled up.
Yeah.
But it can be even karmic. You can have past lifetime patterns surface. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter that because the key is when you work through the body, you work directly with the source
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
And when that's released, who cares? It's so powerful. That's why it's beautiful because the mind doesn't get its candy, it doesn't get to
Yeah.
be, she did this, and if only that didn't happen.
We're not
That's
in a blame game anymore. We're
no,
actually in a self-awareness, taking personal responsibility, being
yeah,
aware of those visceral
right.
feelings that you know, I think sometimes even men, because I know I'm a guy, sometimes we're conditioned to like to not show our emotions. And
Yeah,
so, there's times where, I probably cover things up and I don't know I do.
yeah.
But to take
And
the
yeah,
time to, yeah,
that's everybody. I mean, I was that way. I was so in my head and I was so fed up with myself. I really was like, I don't like this doesn't make any sense.
yeah,
Show me a way. And it wasn't until I began to see people embodied in this way. Now the wisdom keepers improve. I'm like, it's humanly possible. They're not
yeah,
talking from up here. They're emitting. They're being it. They're being the teachings that I hear here.
yeah,
That's all they know because they haven't been programmed.
yeah,
They haven't been conditioned to think that it's out there. They are connected, right? With themselves, with their community, with nature, with the cosmos, all that's real and alive and well. And
mm,
to experience that in actuality and not from a book or a lecture or on a meditation retreat, but to see these people live gave me the hope that must be possible for me too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And but when the work really starts, I'm like, okay, then I need to catch myself and I lose myself in my thinking and in all the programming and in all the stories and in the past. And when I'm not able to be present because it's so scary or so painful, right?
yeah.
That's, yeah.
So also my other curiosity is, so if unresolved emotions or things that we carry that we're unaware of could also be somewhat linked to chronic disease, right?
Oh my God.
So do you see people that actually, once they go through the process and they start to uncover and start to release and create a
Huge.
little bit more, freedom in their body and things like that, does sometimes
Yeah.
they heal on the physical level
Oh,
too?
me too. I went through that personally. Oh yeah. You literally have, so these trauma energies, they are blockages. They sit in your tissue.
Mm,
And right, that's the beauty of my experience in Chinese medicine. I understand how, like, that's the core of that medicine, right? These blocks now create imbalances over time that shows up as a physical symptom or disease. So when you transmute these trauma energies through that inner alchemy, there is more space, there's more vitality, there's flow, there's intelligence. Many autoimmune diseases are rooted in that.
really?
They are for sure. When you And we all know that there can be people in the same environment and growing up in the same family with the same situations in the same workplace. Why does one get sick and the other one doesn't with this thing? That, as a medical doctor, that always interested me. How
Yeah.
come these two factory workers that breathe in these fumes, one of them gets the cancer, the other one is super healthy? There is a propensity from the inner anatomy of our energy that's either well or not so well, right?
Mm.
That's either infused by our soul's essence that has tremendous healing capacity, or there is like a block or a vacuum. So it has hugely to do with our health in all these levels, mental, physical, emotional.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it has so many benefits. I mean, the other thing I would be curious, because you work with a lot of people, and I know that a lot of people like that will be listening to this, you know, podcast. Some of them feel, well, I know I'm called for something greater, but
Mm.
I'm unhappy with what I'm doing right now. I know what I'm doing right now isn't it, but I have this feeling inside of me that I'm called for something greater, and I
Nice,
lack the clarity of what that is.
nice.
My thought process is maybe this is part of that process, right? To help that individual as well.
It's I love that you bring that up. That's my main passion.
Yeah,
It's because that was me too, right? I was stuck in a career I didn't really know, and mainly I didn't trust. I think I kind of did know, but I didn't trust that this even existed or that it's possible for me. But the more, again, we undo these patterns, this programming, and all these blocks, we just are.
yeah,
I mean, it is again, to me, I see it energetically, and it's so linear. You undo what blocks you, and now you get to just be. So
yeah,
it's an effortlessness of recognizing, well, it's the simplest thing. I'm just doing what I'm already good at, but somehow it's more embodied, right? And all the patterns that say where you can't or that self-sabotage you unconsciously, when they dissipate, you're
yeah,
just emerging. It's an emergence of your essence because we came to be and live and give in a certain way, right? And
yeah,
that when that gets unblocked and then this, right, the essence has the capacity to be,
yeah.
it's a natural byproduct.
And
Yes.
I would imagine too that when people start to get that clarity, that sense of soul clarity, I guess, and they
Mhm.
start to
Yeah.
embody that and they start to become aware. To some people, it might not be a radical change in a job or a career. It
Yeah.
might be and because we're never, I guess, we're never really off our path. Many things have so much
Yeah.
value. Even the people we're
Yeah.
connected with, right? But there might be that whole shift in how they see it or how they bring it into light through, through their own like an awakening,
Yeah. Yes. It can look pretty dramatic and sometimes it's not
and sometimes not.
because
Yeah.
our relationship with it changes. It's almost like a deepening into it, and maybe some doors open that before weren't open to us, right? Or we just have a
Okay.
deeper knowing of it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, you just hit on something else too, because yeah, certain doors opening for us.
yeah,
So when we think about, you hear this term out there, quite often, manifestation. Like, how do I manifest, right? For what you're sharing is the more that you
mhm,
align with the true essence of who you are, you
yeah.
become a natural vessel of manifestation, probably that's perfectly aligned with you, right?
Wow, I'm getting goosebumps because so for me, 6 years ago, something massively changed. And within a few days, I got all these downloads suddenly.
Yeah,
And and one of the things that I received was as we cultivate our energy and light body in the way that I was being shown and really embody our soul's essence, certain things would come online. And Richard Rudd calls it the future human, right? Some people talk about this new human and what that means.
Yeah.
And it was very much about that our ability to heal, to know, and to draw things to us would be just times a million.
Yeah.
Right? As we step into that new version of a human, but how do we get there? Was always sort of my question, but it's really a cultivation of our inner energy and light in, for example, the undoing and so forth, because then it just becomes organic again. But what you say is so powerful, because it was shown to me too that when we clear our system in this way and we become more in alignment with our essence, we live from that.
Yeah.
Everything that's meant is no longer blocked from us. We naturally now are just in the experience of it.
Yeah.
It's because it's energy and vibration, right? Everything operates this way. And so this manifestation where people say, well, pick a new identity and live as if you are that. It's like, well, but then you're still not in your essence. You're still just living another person's, like, it was so external for me.
Yeah.
When you sort of unclog and unveil yourself to yourself,
Yeah.
now your light resonates with what's meant for you, what you chose for, or chose to experience as you chose for this lifetime.
Yeah.
So this manifestation becomes a whole nother experience. And
Yeah.
yeah, nice.
Yeah. Beautifully said. Yeah. That, no, that makes total sense.
It's
Yeah.
it's right, it's so elegant. It's not so much that we need to have or do more, it's the opposite. It's an
Mm.
undoing, it's an unveiling, it's an emergence from what's already within. And
Wow.
now all these teachings from all these enlightened beings suddenly makes sense, but it's like not that hard. It's not so complicated. We don't have to be special to experience that. It's a
Yeah.
humble work of showing up, with a ton of courage, ton of I've tried everything else. I'm just gonna show up for myself.
Yeah.
That's really what it takes, because I don't want to sell this as if this is easy and happening overnight at all. This takes serious, it must become a lifestyle where you
Okay.
choose to no longer ignore what is painful, what repeats, and you say, I'm going to stay awake to this.
Mm.
I'm not going to let these opportunities, also known as challenges,
Yeah.
escape me. I'm going to stay present and do my work. I'm going to feel it. I'm not going to let my mind get seduced into making another story out of it. I'm going to stay home and feel it and
Mm.
transmute it every single time. I mean, that's the path. It's daily inner work of
Yeah.
introspection and feeling.
So yeah, and that leads me to the next question too. Is like, is there a specific like daily practice that you would recommend for the average person listening?
Yeah, 100%. It is I mean, the hard part is that before you've had these breakthrough experiences, the mind will say, this is not worth my time. I'd much rather do the
Yeah.
laundry or scroll, right? So we are so distracted, but it takes sitting down. In the beginning, it's important to sit in silence, in
Mm.
stillness and solitude, meaning you like close your eyes and you're somewhere where nothing distracts you. And you just do a check-in, like, how am I feeling right now? It's powerful to do it in the evening, and there's this German word called Rückschau meditation. So you look back at your day. Maybe you notice, where did I lose myself today?
Mm.
Where did I get triggered? Where did I maybe say or do something that was totally not, I wish I hadn't.
Yeah.
That wasn't in alignment with my values. And then you can go back into that moment and then stay in your body. There will be a sensation. If you
Mm.
can't feel your body, it's hard to pick that up. So you just stay with it. Don't give up. There's always a sensation or a numbness.
Yeah.
And you so the key is you sit with that until it's authentically gone. And
Okay.
that's what's hard. In the beginning, for the mind, you were like, oh, I'm done. I've
Yeah.
got more important things to do, because you don't get how life-changing this truly is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the practice. So then you take it from sitting in silence into your day. Then you can have a conversation, or you witness something on maybe on a screen even, and you notice how you're getting angry or scared. And you're like, wow, okay, let's just feel that. And suddenly the thing out there that evoked that in you loses its power, and you no longer would feel or think or react a certain way, but you stay completely present. Right?
That's,
That's the
yeah.
so the mastery level of this, where you unshakable and you can
Yeah.
be calm presence in the storm.
Is it easier to do that practice? I mean, for me, like before we got on sharing, we talked about sometimes we need to get away from like
Yeah.
computers and technology. So I was wondering, like, that's probably easier to do maybe when you're maybe in an outdoors area, or maybe just sitting in a,
Yeah.
yeah, comfortable. Yeah.
That's that's powerful. I started doing that sitting in nature. I would get up before sunrise,
Oh,
and
really?
I would, it doesn't matter what weather it was, I would sit outside and I would just sit for a good hour and be in that practice and watch the sunrise, and then start sun gazing at the time. That's when a lot of things
Sun
opened up
gazing.
in
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I do love doing that outside now. I started that a long time ago, and now I do it anywhere. And I often do it when I'm going to bed at night, and maybe sometimes takes me a moment, then I just do that practice.
Mm,
But key is that you stay conscious more and more in your interactions, at work, at the grocery store, when you're in traffic, and you notice all the stuff that comes up every single time you get sort of triggered and you don't feel peaceful, happy, joyful.
yeah.
It's an opportunity to go deeper into the pattern that has you be out of alignment. Because every
Okay.
single time there is something that causes you to not be at peace, which could be something you've never not felt, right?
Yeah.
But it's true, you can bring yourself to a place of staying peaceful no matter what. And now you're emanating it, and now you're contributing that. That's why I love it so much too, is you become someone that creates peace. You become someone that creates calmness when
Mm,
things are tricky, right?
yeah.
That's
You're anchoring that
yeah.
calmness. It probably helps other people too, or helps the environment.
It helps other people. It helps, I mean, being a parent, right? I'm a parent. It's huge.
Yeah.
And the fact we all that oneness isn't a concept, it's a reality. So we contribute.
Yeah.
Every breath, we contribute our energy to the greater field. What are we contributing? Is it anger, hatred,
Mm,
anxiety, stress, or is
yeah.
it neutrality at least? Yeah, maybe being more grounded. What are we contributing? It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it brings to memory too of I was in India this past December, and the
Wow.
traffic was like crazy. It's like everybody's going every which way, nobody's following the line. But
No.
but the energy felt peaceful. And I have to think that's something special about the culture in India,
Yeah.
because they are very
Oh,
close in community, and they're all
yeah.
very, I mean, from my personal experience, they're very, like, they seem very grounded, very present. But if you had
Mm.
that traffic experience here in the US, you'd have a totally different
Yeah.
reaction.
Yes. Oh, 100%. I haven't been to India, but South America, same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So I have
It's
a
yeah.
question. This
Hmm.
I wasn't thinking about this until this conversation just now, and now thinking about me. Now I don't really have this feeling come up anymore, but I can be aware of the fact that I used to get tightness like in my
Mm.
throat, and also at the same time it'd be like in my upper chest as well.
Hmm.
and it was around public speaking.
Yeah.
And then I joined Toastmasters, which I had this feeling like I have to get better at this.
Yeah.
And then every time I was getting like my the speech wouldn't be for 3 more days, and I'm still home thinking about it. And sometimes
Yeah.
that feeling would come up,
Yes.
but it's kind of it's like it doesn't. I I don't know. Maybe for some reason I must have released it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exposure therapy.
What's that?
Maybe you did enough exposure therapy. You just did it anyways, and you're nervous,
Yeah.
right? It's basically what we're talking to is the nervous system. If
Hmm.
our nervous system is at parasympathetic state, right? Calm, relaxed, creative, all the good things, our body is calm. But when there is a trigger or a trauma, when the pattern is being pulled up, it gets hijacked into fight and flight, sympathetic mode.
Yeah.
And now, right, we are like nervous, we get insecure, our brain functions at a lower IQ level and so forth. That's that's a trauma response. And so the tightness, all the things are an expression of that. So
Okay.
you do it enough time and now your nervous system learns, well, I'm uncomfortable, but I'm safe. It learns, oh, I'm
Uh,
safe. I'm still there. I didn't die when I spoke in public. So that's
yeah.
another way of training yourself into a release.
Yeah.
So with public speaking, super powerful, right? I get a lot of people who say, I like that's what they come in for. I want to do public speaking for whatever reason, and I'm so scared. You That's a beautiful technique for that.
Yeah.
It's whatever the trauma energy is, you release it, your system comes back to wholeness. Your nervous system learns it's safe.
So
And
yeah, in other words, what I took years and years and years to overcome, I probably could have just contacted you and
yeah,
went through the process quicker. But
it
yeah,
literally can be one session for sure.
really,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I know people that listen to this podcast also are public speakers, so that
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I heard it's one of the biggest, or if not the biggest, or most common fear. The most common, I think, fear is public speaking. Makes
yeah,
sense, right? Especially for a lot of us who work in this field of healing, it is often a past life or ancestral thing because being outspoken or being seen really wasn't very safe for a very long time.
yeah,
So there's a lot of trauma energy here, or as a child, right? Were we allowed to express all of our emotions and desires? No, it was often we had to stifle, we had to suppress it. And now that energy is like, oh, is it safe this time? Yeah,
yeah. And
yeah,
you think about it too, if you sometimes you'll see a parent and maybe I even because I'm a parent, maybe I did it not knowingly, but sometimes when a kid is really loud or screaming or
yeah.
asking maybe there's asking for something and you're in a public place and you get
Mm,
you get as a parent frustrated and you tell them to shut them down whatever word you
totally.
use they're feeling it
Yeah, they're
they're feeling
feeling
it
it.
like so yeah that makes
Oh, I
sense.
know. Yeah, that's why I love working with parents because what it means for their children, right? We all do our best, but we pass on so much of that to the next generation if we're unconscious and not
Yep.
skillful with that. Yeah. Because how could we not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
how could we not? I like that this it's that saying, hurt people.
Mm. Yeah,
They
exactly.
don't know they hurt people. That's because
No,
it's in that loop.
it's in that loop. And that was my biggest motivation for when I realized more things about my past, my childhood. I was so determined to be the one with which it stops in my lineage. That was my son was my biggest motivator. I will not pass this on to the best of my ability, right? Some of the things that I carried. So
Mm,
it's possible. I mean, I'm not nobody is perfect. It's not about that, but we can absolutely end the pattern that we think we can't. Because that's the
mm,
mind. The mind believes it's always been this way. It's impossible to stay calm when they have a temper tantrum. No, you can.
yeah.
You
I had
can.
I had a friend that said, "Oh, we're Italian. We always yell."
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a belief system, right?
It's
That's
a
yeah,
belief
it's
system. Yeah, and it's probably, you know, 30, 50 generations deep.
yeah.
But it's so powerful to realize. Like I about a year ago, I remember I was driving to an event, a school event with my son, and suddenly the roads were blocked and I literally couldn't get there. But I had helped set it up. I was so excited. I looked forward to it for months. And I knew I would never make it because there was something where the roads were blocked. There was only one road. And I was sitting in that realization, watching myself and realizing, oh my God, I'm not angry. I'm not freaking out. I'm not anxious because my
Mm,
old self would have felt all these feelings of, how can this happen? It's so important. I need to be there
yeah,
for so many reasons. I'm missing this beautiful moment. And I was just like, I'm not going to be there. And it's a fine, right? And it was such a stark difference from my old self who would have freaked out.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was beautiful because I was like, wow, it shows up in so many ways.
yeah. And
And
then
you
when
can
you be
break. Yeah,
yeah, and you become aware of the change. You become
yeah,
aware that, oh, my old self would have done this, but now I
yeah.
realize that's no longer there.
It's just truly no longer there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Well, you've shared so much beautiful
Mm.
wisdom, and I really appreciate you being on a show. I know some people listening may want to know a little bit more about you, how to reach you, and I know you offer different courses and programs and stuff
Mhm.
too, and also something about a 6 week challenge that
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Yeah, so I work my most of my work is one-on-one sessions with people online. I have some courses where I try to teach these concepts and make them practical because of my main intention really is to bring concepts that we get and understand the value, we bring it home into where it matters, right? Into our
yeah,
life, into like so they work for us. Um, I I love people bringing people to Peru because it's like it's an amazing experience. So that's something that some of your listeners might be interested in looking at. But this challenge I just created, I want to share things I've never shared before in a way in a format where I call it a challenge. It's a 6 week weekly meeting for an hour online where I want to ask people to stay with these few things I'm going to share daily to prove to themselves and their skeptical mind that change is possible
mm,
when they don't even believe it. So
mm,
it's a way of bridging deeper into our being, right? I work a lot through the lens of energy. So it's too much to go into here, but it's kind of like I think I called it embody your essence and live your dream. What is one thing you really truly want to change?
mm,
And choose that as the sacred intent, right? Because these desires, these yearnings, they literally are coming from your soul saying, this is important. We need to orient this way. So what is one thing that you know hasn't left you that is so important to you? That's your sacred intent. And then over these 6 weeks, we're going to go through different practices and themes to really embody it. That's the challenge. So it's on my website. We can link it below.
okay, yeah,
And
I'll put the
I'm really
link for your
excited.
website, and through that they can go
Yeah, it
to
says
find.
challenge in the header. So yeah, my
Okay,
website is called soulremembrance.com. Yeah,
yeah, that's the perfect website.
thank
That's
you. Yeah.
that's good. And then also you're on YouTube,
Hmm.
and so
Yeah,
those
I
are the
just
main
started
ways
back. Yeah.
people can find you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I took some time off social media. I took a year off and I just
Yeah,
got back on. So thanks for sharing that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're happy you're back on, and
Yeah.
yeah. So everybody listening, please, uh, reach out. Go to the website soulremembrance.com and reach out to the YouTube channel because Claudia
Mhm.
does share some really good in-depth conversation through her YouTube channel as well. So
Thank you.
thank you so much, Claudia. Any
Yeah.
last words that you want to share with the audience?
Um, well, I know a lot of people right now are really struggling. right?
Yeah,
And to me, what we talked about on the individual level, we're really seeing it on a collective level. To me, soul loss is a collective experience and has been there for a long time. And to me, this time of these challenges and things being revealed is such a powerful opportunity to do exactly what we talked about, to find our deeper, truer self, our essence in this chaos. And it's not complicated and it's not
yeah,
for a select few. It's for us. It's right there. It's literally here. And so maybe we can change our perspective where we look at what's going on as an invitation to become so whole and so authentic and gift ourselves, right?
yeah,
We came here for a reason. What if we all stop feeling we need to be like that person or talk more like that person or do that thing, but we really let it emerge from within and gift ourselves, our light to this world? To me, that's what this time is about.
yeah.
And again, it's not complicated. It just takes, yeah, it takes the work, but it's completely doable.
Beautifully said. We can actually be beacons of light that heal the planet as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how we turn on the light, right? We do the inner alchemy, we face our shadow, and now we actually stop resonating with the darkness and we pull our attention back from all the stories and we focus on what we're here to create. And now we starve out the unwanted and we feed what we're creating. To me, that's how we're gonna create this new reality. Yeah,
Beautiful. Absolutely perfectly well said. I love it.
thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Claudia. I would love to have you on again. I'm sure
Oh,
that'll
thank you.
evolve in time. And
Love to
yeah, I appreciate your time.
very much too, Ron. It was a pleasure being
Thank
here.
you.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Namaste.